Hello and welcome to another Demon 212 Dreamcast review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Vampire Chronicle For Matching service, which if you've never played it before, it's a fighting game slash beat 'em up, whatever you prefer to call it. At the start you've got arcade, training, which is kind of self-explanatory. You go there to train, except this one's not so good. You're better off just putting it on easy difficulty on arcade for practice, I suppose. You've got network options, which no longer work, and then the options, which game options. You can choose difficulty, 1 and 8 star, between obviously damage level, timer speed, game speed, just things like that. Sound test, self-explanatory. Screen adjust, self-explanatory. Button config, you can fully customize your controls, which I've set it up for an arcade stick, but I'm unfortunately using a pad at the moment. Memory card, you can choose to save or load, which to be fair, I think I need to load because I didn't swap my VMU over before putting it in. Not that I've particularly got anything unlocked or anything. There's only 3 characters to unlock and I don't have them. It's just I know for other settings that I've done with the game. From there, you've got a hell of a lot to decide, because this is essentially a compilation game that's not a compilation. You basically get to choose between Vampire Hunter and Savior here. And Vampire is essentially Street Fighter 2, I suppose. That's what people described it as. Where you get like a special super bar and you can fill it up in the normal way that you would in a Street Fighter game. You've then got Hunter mode, where you can constantly fill your super bar. It's not just by attacking and that. I believe that the difference was like you can also do it by blocking. And then Savior, which is a slight tweak on Hunter. And honestly, I'm struggling to remember what it is. I'm probably going to have to just get wheeled on by a computer while I read out everything that I've wrote out for it. One of the unique and cool things about it, though, is the fact that there's characters in the Darkstalker franchise, because that's what this is. It's just that this is a Japanese version, and I don't think they call it Darkstalkers there. They call it Vampire Chronicles, obviously. And it meant that by doing this chronicle like this, you had characters that you never used to be able to play on certain games that now had a moveset for those certain games, because that's what I mean. It's kind of like a compilation, but not. From there, you then get to choose your turbo speed and all that, and then you also get to choose another different type. So you've got Vampire type, Hunter type, Savior type, and Savior 2 type, and depending on which one you choose, and depending on the thing at the start, it basically means that your character is going to play completely differently. It therefore essentially means each character's got something like 7 different versions right off the bat. Maybe more, because you can have 3 with then 4, then 3 with then 4 again, then 3 with then 4. So yeah, every character must have 12 versions, and there's a roster of 22 characters. So you do the math, because I'm too busy trying to do a review. That's a hell of a lot of options in customization. It means that just because you've played as a character once doesn't mean that you hate the character. You might just hate that version of her, or him. I only said her because I'm currently playing as a her. And it's just one of those. It does mean that, I suppose it might sound a bit daunting, because there's so much to do in it. It will take you weeks to find out just every character variation, and to play every variation, and to see which one you prefer, and to find your character. But anyone who is a bit put off by that and a bit worried, thinking, well, I don't really have the time to invest in doing all of this, if you are into fighters and you've played a lot of them before, then you should know yourself by now that it's the sort of thing that with any fighter you can jump in, fiddle around, and it then depends on whether or not you want to play the game casually, just every now and then with your friends, whether it's something that you want to play a lot with your friends and make it one of your mains, whether it's something that you want to play semi-pro, which back in the day, I suppose, used to mean going to the local arcade and owning people, whereas nowadays, which you can't do on this one anymore, but it's probably playing online, or fully pro, where you want to practice it so much and go to local competitions or national competitions. But I don't even know if this is played at a competition level, if I'm honest. What I can say is, graphically it's really good, but it doesn't look that way at this moment in time, because this is unfortunately the 3rd game that I've got in my collection that doesn't work on a SCART cable. I'm using a standard RF. I'm trying to, as I said in another vid, get the VGA sorted, because I know I've seen videos online where it just looks fantastic, and this currently looks awful. So time to get absolutely wailed on by a computer while I just try and read out everything that I've wrote out for the different styles. And apologies for the sniff, I think I'm coming down with a cold. So, Vampire, I've already mentioned it. Basically, it plays a bit like Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. It runs off very similar fundamentals, and super attacks can only be charged one at a time, and to use them, you perform a special attack and with a full bar. Hunter, your super bar can be continuously charged by blocking and making attacks, and while the super moves themselves can generally land for greater quantity of hits, you can use all three kick or punch buttons to bang out spectacular finishes, and the amount of finger twisting and combo busting type thing that you can do, it's just like huge. It's so much greater. The final way is Saviour, obviously, and it's essentially Hunter as I see it. The real difference is your health bars, that's what I couldn't remember, your actual health bar will carry over, so it's that pretty much is the only major difference. I mean, other than, as you might have noticed, to the left and to the right, when you win a round, you get an orb. On Saviour style, you get a little bat instead, but that's just a cosmetic difference, it's not a gameplay difference. And I think music slightly enhanced as well on Saviour, and it's just one of those things that there is a, therefore immediately, that's what I mean, it's a compilation but it's not, because you've got three different styles of play for all of the different characters that do greatly change things and how it's played and how the game's made, but it's all one game. You've then got, as I say, the different setups with the Vampire and the Hunter and the Saviour and Saviour 2 style, and it's why, if I have worked it out correctly, it's why each of the 22 characters must have 22 different ways to be played. And it's just absolutely insane. It really is, to have this level of customization in a fighter, especially one that was limited to something like a 5,000 copy press that was only released in Japan by a postal order service or something. I also have no idea how the hell I've just won that, because I picked the pad up mid-fight, obviously, and I've just noticed I had no energy there. I mean, seriously, I don't know if you'd be able to see it on the camera, but if you pull the video back, you'll see that when I've just won that round, I had zero energy. So, bit mental. Graphically, as I've already said, and musically and that, it's decent, so I'm going to end with a bit of the music, because I do quite like it, and I've not really got anything else I can actually mention. Other than the basic fundamentals, I suppose, which I keep forgetting to do every now and then. For those who've never played this genre at all, this definitely isn't something I'd recommend starting with, but because it is so labour intensive and so much to do, and then it means getting a Japanese either Dreamcast or a boot disc or something, so it's not something I'd recommend for a starter. But if you are new to the genre and you're interested in it, the whole point is you've both got an energy bar, you've both got different special moves that you can do, things like combinations of attacks, which you've just seen us do one there, and then there's dodgy moves that you can just do. One of the characters on this can pull chainsaws out of her actual hand and or turn it into a chainsaw, I suppose, and use that as a weapon, and you get the energy down, you win the round, you go on, you get the energy down again, you go through all this until you get to the very end, where you get a little bit of story from doing the arcade thing, which I'd imagine will be in Japanese, as all of this has been in Japanese so far, except the I suppose important stuff. It's like I keep saying with a lot of the Japanese imports that I do, that when you're importing certain things, always check it out, but a lot of the fighters and shoot 'em ups do have what I would consider import in English. It has the options screen, it has all of this, as you can see, is in English, the names are in English, the special bars in English, just pretty much everything that you'd need to know if you can't read Japanese. So, right, enough warbling on. I've probably done far too much of that already, but as you might have guessed, it is a very complex game. So I'm going to change character now to someone else, just so that I'm showing someone different, and shut up for a little bit of the music. So there we go then. That's been the review. I hope you found it helpful. I don't score the games because that's based purely on opinion, so instead I'll leave you to make your own mind up. So thanks for watching, and if you've got any questions about the game that I didn't answer in the vid or that hasn't been answered in the comments, then feel free to ask and I'll help if I can. Also, if you did find it helpful, don't forget to check out my channel because there's plenty more like this up there, and don't forget to subscribe because there'll be plenty more to come as well. So until next time, this has been Demon212, signing off.